horse drifted alarmingly in the betting was, Felsted in the morning, continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Burns.
The ground is soft. It's not.
It's heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
And a big warm welcome to the Pastures Inquiry Sunday sermon. And to get you in the mood for Royal Ascot, we're going to do a Royal Ascot theme show, believe it or not. And joining us later in the podcast, we'll have Icy in the house, I believe, midway through the show. But joining me, as always, on this wonderful podcast that's not totally shit, that did finish third. We didn't want to win it, did we, chaps? Chris and John. We wanted to come third because then if we win it, we're sellouts, aren't we?
Well, also, it only pays 2 places each way, so we don't have bollocks.
That's you backing us each way. Yeah.
Maximum each way, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was good. It was good.
So, John, Chris, how are we today? Are we all good?
Not bad.
Jonas?
John
Yeah, I'm in pretty good order. I'm just practicing for Ascot, actually. I'm doing this podcast stood up as though I can't get a seat. And I've got somebody popping in shortly to piss on my shoes.
You do that yourself normally, don't you? So it's quite podcast coming to do it for you.
Yeah, well, I'm living up to form because I've had some Father's Day gin purchased for me. It'd be rude not to start on it, so I have, even though we're recording this show earlier than normal, let's get on with it. And
That's 10 listeners.
Yeah, I was going to say, just bear that in mind. This is some sort of afternoon lazy chat. This is like fucking people just finished their bacon and eggs.
it is. It's unusual for us, yeah. But we had to go early today because of Father's Day duties, etc., etc.
I don't think a nice late breakfast gin you're on.
It's not actually about 43%.
Oh, Jesus.
Now.
It's all right though. It's got a sort of a licoricey juniper sort of flavour to it. I like it. Anyway, going down well. So anyway, on to today's podcast. We're going to talk some Ascot memories. But before we get there, again, the old whip debate comes to mind here. And I've read an awful article today because they always seem to pick on the little ones as well. Paula Muir, she's absolutely distraught with a whip ban, 35 days with a totting up procedure for whip offences. John, we're now at crisis point, surely, because we could see a Royal Ascot meeting where we might be drafting in jockeys from France come Thursday, Friday.
Well, I don't know when the bans kick in, whether they'll kick in that quick, but I think the July meeting could look a little bit, couldn't it? You know, I think you might have about 18 jockeys going for all the rides in the Bunbury Cup.
Yeah.
Because surely they're not going to ease off in some of these this week.
Well, I'll give you an example. Let's say you've got a horse in a Group 1 and you're challenging it final furlong. You know yourself, is it 6, I think, the maximum? I don't even know what the maximum is these days. You've give it the 6. I think, obviously, if you give it another 2, obviously the horse won't lose the race or anything, but you will get probably banned, etc. And give it 2 absolute firm ones, wouldn't you, John?
Yeah, you've got to. Because your trainer's going to ask you why you didn't anyway.
It is. And Chris, right, why are we doing it? Who are we appeasing? What are we doing again? You know, why have we brought this in? It's mindless to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's like one of those sort of, I didn't think that through very much strategies. I don't think the BHA actually now know who they're appeasing. I think they've forgotten. And I think, I can't remember what the sort of, suppose, the genesis of this latest thing was. I mean, can you remember? Was it PETA or one of the animal rights groups that sort of pushed for this? I mean, I honestly don't understand because jockeys don't want it.
The worst thing about this is that they're giving so much ammunition to the animal rights groups because all they have to do now is look and see all the bans that's been dished out. I mean, there's about 4 years worth of bans since this came in, isn't there?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they only have to look and tot up them details and they'll be saying to everybody that follows them, look at this, they must be knocking the shit out of these horses.
That's a really, really good point because I'm just trying to have a look online. I can't remember. I think we talked about it, but like being old men, we forget immediately. But what was the driver behind this? I mean, was there one thing, or was there a review or a lobby group that caused them to do this?
Yeah, more or less angled for by the Racing Post. Millington was all over it. He was very well in favour of it. and the BHA just rubbed along with it as well.
Yeah, as usual, you're right. It was Millington's lot, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, this is great. This will make, racing more attractive to these mythical 18 to 21-year-olds who would love to gamble their bollocks away, but if it wasn't for the whip. Remember that rubbish she wrote in the post a few months back? All these young people coming up to him saying, I love racing, but not the whip.
Well, these people live in a different planet for me, because what you've both highlighted, and come back to John's point on how these groups, PETA, Animal Rising, whatever, that want to ban horse racing, it gives them ammunition for articles in newspapers to get printed. They can go on air and repeat these stats and look at the jockey bands that they're thrashing the lives out of them. And it's basically an own goal, because what you're doing is you're admitting that this whip hurts them and it's cruel by limiting the number of smacks. That's what you're doing. You're basically...
The bans are for abuse, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
It's whip abuse.
Yeah.
So anybody in these organisations reading whip abuse, 4 years worth of bans, what's their next Twitter advert going to look like?
Yeah, exactly. You are... It's amazing how little foresight the BHA had. In fact, I'll give them some credit, not on the whip debate, but they actually came out this week, I believe, against Animal Rising, that demanded a sit-down debate, not to protest at any further meetings going forwards, but they wanted a sit-down, sort of either televised or radio debate with the BHA on horse racing. And the BHA flatly refused, for the first time, had a backbone and went, no, we're not going to engage. To be honest, if they'd have had that backbone from the start, as John's pointed out for years since we started doing this podcast, had the backbone to stand up to these groups and just say, absolutely not. But sadly, we've let them in. And I blame some of our media as well, and people that support these whip measures. And there are quite a few in the media that actually do support these whip measures. And how foolish do they look now? Because these groups now will look to punish racing for this barbaric treatment of horses, according to them, because it's there. It's in black and white. Paul Muir, 35-day ban, you absolute horse beater, you.
Paul butcher Muir.
I love that. Great, the old fruit and nut bar, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Remember that, Frank Muir? Yeah.
Frank Muir. Yeah. He was on Call My Bluff. Remember Frank Muir?
Yeah, and that other stuttering son. What was he called?
He had the old comb over, Robert Robinson, didn't he? The old
That's
host.
it. Yeah.
That's so special, yeah.
Call My Bluff.
What a shit, wasn't it? What a load of fucking rubbish.
Well, it was. Yeah, so anyway, again, as you know, I'm a video watching bore, and especially like statistical analysis bore. And so I thought I'd look at this to back it up. These are quite compelling stats. John will like. So in 2023, prior to yesterday, because I haven't downloaded the results, there's been 5,805 races, of which there has been 277 101 chances beaten, right, in running. So work that out. There should only be, from 5,805 races to be uniform, there should only have been 58 beaten. So do you get where I'm coming from here? There's a massive angle at the moment, or it appears so. Is that just variance? It could be. But we're talking record numbers of 101 chances getting beat in running, and there's got to be a reason why. Because if you've used your 6 and you're running out of petrol, or also starting to think about it, 100 yards from the line, you're 3 clear and you start paddling, what do? As a jockey, you've had your 6 and they're not willing to lose 8 days' money.
Yeah, there is. And the fact that you say that there's sort of record numbers of 101 beats, I mean, I don't know why you're blaming Varians for it. I mean, it's not his fault.
Roger Varians.
Yeah. They're going at breakneck speed.
It's the only impact he's had on the sport in 10 years.
It's how he plays. It's how he places his horses, isn't it? Roger Varians, bit of variance, won't stick him anywhere. Beverly Air.
I'm no sort of statistician, but it does seem odd, and you can now look back and you can say, imagine if there was 1 or 2 really sharp punters out there that sussed this before it happened. They'd be cleaning up now, wouldn't they? Now everybody's looking for the 101s. They'd have slaughtered it by now, wouldn't they? I mean, because there's been loads beat lately, and it has to be something to do with that, doesn't it?
Well, even the Tory councillor Woodman, who's the only Tory in the land to double his majority at the last council election. I thought I'd plug him there because it's like the poor old Tories. Well, not the poor old
Tories.
Tories.
Because he acts in a manner that's completely opposite to the country Tories running the country.
Exactly, John. That's a good point. Yeah, exactly that. I'm sure he'll be pleased to hear that. Yeah, he is. He's a good bloke. Anyway, so he pointed out yesterday that there was some way counted. He said there was, I think, 8 sub 1.1s beat yesterday for in running players. So again, people are going to be looking for angles soon because these track players that bet in running use the drone pictures, etc. They're clicking away, thinking if the jockeys use the whip strikes up, because no one's counting. No, who watches a race and counts? I don't.
They don't, and I think
this is the problem with the lane of the 101s, though, isn't it? We ain't counting. The jockeys are.
Yeah. Maybe that's a new skill for in running players. Count the number of smacks.
Well, I think you mentioned it previous time, didn't you? You say, that sinking feeling you get when you know the horse that you back requires, persuasion, and they run out of strikes and they get beaten. I've seen quite a few of those lately that happen. You think, for fuck's sake! And I think it's favouring horses off the front now, isn't it? Really, that kick clear.
Yeah, it's and obviously there's a Paul I forget his Twitter handle. Paul Fitzgerald, it might be Cav something.
That was Steve Coogan's character, wasn't
it? Yeah, Paul. Yeah, it was.
Paul,
yeah,
Pauline. Yeah,
Pauline Carr. But yeah, he's caught with some stats showing that front runners are just excelling this year. Again, it could be Roger Varians, but we don't know. We'll move on from the whip debate. We hope you enjoyed that little discussion. We'll come on to some memories, Royal Ascot memories, and Chris did a fantastic article which we've left free on Patreon for you.
It's not worth anything, that's why.
No, because
birdcage material that is.
Chris, me and John had a little chat before you come on. We wanted to give you a column name, so everyone's got a column name. Right, we wanted to put low life.
Yeah, Jeffrey Bernard, wasn't it? Yeah, he's pissed in the wagon. Was it coaching horses in Soho?
Yeah.
Private Eye did high life and low life. They had Taki Theodocropoulos, the multi-billionaire shipping magnate, and then underneath it had Jeffrey Bernard, who was unwell this week because he was in hospital or something, having his stomach pumped. Whatever.
So I've just come to some extracts out of your article today for those that haven't read it yet. And it said, so basically you were there at Royal Ascot with me, I remember the day, and you said, later that day, I also recall being asked by Kevin Ryan whether he could borrow a spare chair at our table. And I know you, I didn't know this. I didn't know that.
Drunk.
I was
drunk.
Yeah.
Holding court at one end, talking no different.
So anyway, this is what made me smile, because I knew you'd actually do this. So he says, I agreed on the strict condition that he told me a winner. And anyone that knows Chris, that's it. He just fuck everything else. Fuck small talk. I want a winner.
Yeah, I see threatened to release the transcript of my WhatsApp with him while I'm badgering him for a fucking tip. So I have to keep very quiet later because he's a bastard for that, honestly.
Yeah, so he says, Kevin obliged by suggesting that this horse in the next race would very nearly win. Inevitably, the effects of copious amounts of free champagne, and Chris doesn't drink like I do, ensured that I forgot to back this 14-1 winner. Chris, that sums you up, doesn't it, to a T?
That does. You've got the trainer, who's a few shoots to the wind as well, so he's quite loose-lipped. So I don't think Kevin Ryan gives tips out, but he said, go on, and he said, it'll be in the frame. So yeah, thanks. I think Jamie Spencer may have written it. I can't remember. People can look back, but yeah. And he was bullish. Thought, right, I'll have a few quid. And I just completely forgot. And then watched I've got one like, Kevin Ryan's dotted up, for fuck's sake. So that's me done. So yeah, that's the story of my life, and I think it will resonate with loads of people. I think.
Yeah. So this next paragraph, John, this is class. He goes, on my way out of the course, I observed a young woman administering oral relaxation to a lucky fellow between some parked cars. But before I could look away, she obligingly suggested that if I was able to hang around for a couple more minutes, she would sort me out as well.
That's true. Absolutely true. Nowhere to look. My shoes. I've never been so more interested in my shoes in my life. I would look down. Yeah, extraordinary. But that's the sort of thing you do, fortunately or unfortunately, you get to see at Royal Ascot. People just lose their shit, don't they, really?
The things, John, that takes place in the Royal Ascot car park, that's where Jeff Banks parks his roller, John.
Even when there's no racing on it.
Is that a metaphor?
Fucking November afternoon.
I think there's a few people parked a roller in the.
Oh dear.
It's
Yeah.
an extraordinary meeting. Anyone who's never been, you have to go Royal Enclosure. It's worth going at least once in your life because it's one of those spectacles that you just don't get anywhere else. Toppers and tails, whatever your political views are, it's all a load of rubbish in my view. But it's visually, it's a great spectacle, and if you have nice weather, it is a good day out. You only have to go once or twice, but it's definitely worth trying at least once in your life.
Unless you like that fellow in my system bet Twitter profile picture, which I haven't changed. It's the best interview I have ever seen on racing television. Where do you remember it, John? Luke Harvey's dancing around last year around this enclosure. Oh, are you enjoying the day? And everyone's going, yeah, it's fabulous. Oh, yeah, lovely. And then they come to this fellow that reminded me of John. Like he sat in chair, shades on, just leant back, looks up at Luke Harvey, and he says, "You enjoying the day, sir?" No, it's rubbish.
It's true, and I think many women will identify that you're sort of having to share their lives with people like him and us. I mean, in fact, yesterday I was moaning so much. This is absolutely true. My wife halved a grapefruit, right, which she was having put with a bit of sugar on, and in frustration hurled it at me, clapped me right on the side of the head, and said, "Will you stop fucking moaning, you cunt?" And I've been washing congealed sugar out of my hair ever since. I can't get rid of it stuff. So yeah, I think sympathy to all women that have to sort of put up with people like us. But yeah, he's like a hero now. That guy, what a miserable son. I loved him. Brilliant. I'll never see it live.
If I could get him on the bar, Stuart, if anyone knows him, I'd have him on for a sermon, definitely. Oh, yeah. I'd talk about his experience again for Royal Ascot. Yeah, absolutely superb. Yeah. Just to finish before we get icy, what would be your, like, I know, like, we know you're a York man, but in fact, give me your pinnacle of Royal Ascot memories.
The best day I ever had at Royal Ascot, 1998, when Wally was coming back from I think it was about the last sabbatical he took before he finished. He rode 3 winners on Coronation Stakes, including the Coronation Stakes. Peter had one in the last Bessborough called Great Palace that we really, really fancied. He'd pulled like a bastard at the Guineas meeting, and Wally put a lot of work in. When he said, "I've got this now." He said, "I know what I'm doing with this one." He said he won't pull. It was 9-1. We're going to help ourselves, really. And then we finished up because he won the Coronation Stakes and then he won the Queen's Vase. I think they were both about 5-1. I had 3 doubles in the Traveller, 10 or 15 quid, something like that. This thing was 9-1. I didn't even need to back him. Absolutely hosed up. It was a fantastic day, though.
98. The days when it was just, it was great. It was the old oak tree in the paddock. What stunning memories. And obviously, if Davis was on, it'd be daft asking Davis because he'd just say Zilzal, wouldn't he?
I would imagine, so I think there was about $250,000 in recorded big bets in most of Davis. Took the money out the ring, I think.
Yeah, Zilzal in the jersey. There was no finer sight. In fact, I remember watching that as a teenager at my nan and granddad's. They were watching something else, and I said, "Oh, can you put the racing on?" And I know, 15, 14, whatever I was.
But they wrote you off on that minute, didn't they?
Yeah.
They just turned away in disgust and said, "We'll focus on our other grandchildren."
Yeah. And I watched Zilzal win it, and oh God, what a Rolls Royce that was.
What a craze.
I know. Exactly.
Do you remember? I mean, I can't remember. It was way before that. Do you remember? And I don't think I'm making it up, but do you remember, John? There was a horse that ran at Royal Ascot won that was in Lord Howard de Walden's colours, and it was trained by Julie Cecil. Do you remember that? I think.
Yeah.
I had a tip for that weeks before. That was that was probably the biggest win I ever had at that point. And someone I knew said, "Oh yeah, Julie Cecil thinks won't get beaten." I think it was right.
Down with a key.
Yep, you're right. It did. Yeah, and the rain was coming, and it shortened. I think it wasn't big.
Kingfisher Mill.
Yeah, thank you.
Kingfisher Mill. Mm.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they thought it was a right good thing. Yeah, amazing what you remember, isn't it? I had no kind of money's long spent, but those live in the memory, don't they? So yeah, it's a great meeting.
Okay, we shall move on. Welcoming I see Simon Rowland, sectional time ball, is in the house. Yes, we've got him in. And
sectional or sexual?
Sexual time ball.
Sexual ball.
Actually,
That's what my
sexual
wife
ball. Yeah, I've been called that. Anyway, coming on to
Is that way measure the cadence?
I actually think it's the same to those guys, though, isn't it? It really is sexual. Like, I mean, they take it that seriously. I mean, I actually broke my record yesterday for how many people I upset on Twitter, which was fantastic. But God, it's a religion, isn't it? Or is it even a cult?
Speaking personally, I am a sectional time ball, but do you know what? I agree. I don't agree with Rowlands and Knight in this sort of Twitter debate, because like when they sort of went for Johnny Deneen, and Johnny Deneen says, "Look, you can have your time, shove them up your ass. You know, I spot a horse and I want to bet it, and that's how it works." And I get that, because there's so many variables. It's just one of them. Isn't it? It literally is just one variable.
Can I just say one thing about Johnny Deneen? Okay, like I don't know him personally, shall we say, but I know of him. Like, this is a guy that survived on the race course for God knows how many years on his wits, and this is a guy that could watch he could watch a race once and tell you what happened. I mean, I don't think sectionals will ever be as good a punter as he is. That's just my view, and it's just, you know, that's like he's a real feel kind of punter, but my God, I mean, if you give me his card or a sectional card, I know which one I'd want.
I really like the fella, and that's why he beat us to second place in the SBC podcast.
You're voting for him.
Exactly. You know, without him, that Racing Post podcast be nothing. And I like your comment, Icy, when you said you're only telling them like 8% about like what you know, like kind of thing.
No, I've upped that to 12% now. He's 12% telling the truth now, I think.
I mean, this is the thing, you know, like the shorter end of the market. This is why I like the fella, because there's a lot of people that sort of hardwired into, oh no, 6-4, that's no price, or 7-4, oh, that's too short. You know, like when James Knight said about you back a 7-4 winner and you think you're clever, and it's like, well, yeah, if you think it should be odds on, you are very clever. And I don't understand the mindset of some people against what Johnny Deneen does and says. I mean, look at his best bet Saturday, for example. I mean, Chris, you should have been all over it. On Racing Post, he said the 4-7 perk of Gordon's at Downpatrick was an absolute racing certainty. It's one on the Billy Idol. There you go. What is another? What one man's meat is another man's poison, is what I say. And that's how Johnny Deneen works. And I like the fella. I like how he responds to people. He's not like me and gets upset. He kind of measured replies to people. I do. I've got a lot of respect for the fella. Anyway, that's enough smoke blowing to him. We've got Icy on the show for a reason. And this is to mainly, everyone's like creaming themselves for an Icy Yankee. Have you got it?
No, I don't have a Yankee, but I think there's two races in Royal Ascot that are really priced badly. I mean, look, Royal Ascot's not Cheltenham, so you know the markets aren't as scrutinised as they are. But what do you boys think of the pricing of the Norfolk?
I've got two strong fancies in that race.
Oh God! Oh, here we go. Yeah.
My men are very strong on these ones, but let's see if we agree.
So the Norfolk, I found the
Calvert's, I've seen it.
Yeah, Elite Status looks a very good horse. Asadna, I felt, is a strange entry, because why start over 6 and then go to 5? I don't know why they bothered with that entry. It's kind of a bit weird, that horse. Obviously, that's caused much controversy as Asadna with the sectional time boys. And what did I think? I think that probably the American horse is probably, typically, it's like Wesley Ward, banana split Spinger. It's kind of overrated. Would you agree with that, Icy? Would you?
God! So look, it's one of flapping race in America, and they're like creaming themselves on Twitter, going, "Oh, I've never seen a horse run so fast in all my life." Yeah, how long are you watching racing? Like, I mean, the horse that was second is bred for about 10 furlongs, and you know he's beat him over 5 furlongs. I mean, it's just there's no nuance with these people. It's just every year Wesley Ward hype. Oh God, look, God Almighty, the horse might win, but 5-2, 11-4 is just madness. It's absolute madness. It's based on nothing. It's pure hype. Elite Start is fair enough. He was impressive at Sandown, but again, like what's he beat? And then you've got horses then like like Paddy Toomey's as good a trainer as anyone in this race, and his horse was 16-1. I think it's is it 8-1 now?
Yes, 8-1. Yeah.
Okay, right. No, so that's the key race for me is the Marble Hill last time in the Curragh. The horse that won it is give me the beat, boys. That's now like 7 or 8-1 for the Coventry. It'll end up going up 5-1 for the Coventry because Frankie's on it. And these horses both in behind then are like basically kind of dropping down a level for the Norfolk. And the horse that was third, His Majesty, that's a dangerous horse. I know everyone thinks it needs 7 furlongs, but that's like Aidan O'Brien. It's a dangerous horse. I know they were they were slightly disappointed with him in the Curragh because they thought he was a bit green. So he's going to come on. Toomey's horse travelled through the race, like tanked through the race. I think 5 furlongs will he'll take some beating in this race. But on the day, all you're going to hear is hype. You're going to hear Carl Burke, blah blah blah. You're going to hear Wesley Ward, blah blah blah. And these horses are going to go off bigger prices than they should. Look, it'll be interesting to see how the market plays out in the day, what the models will do, etc. But like at the moment, this race is just priced so badly.
I like the case you've made there, particularly because John as well highlighted this horse on debut. John, you liked this horse on debut, didn't you?
Yeah, very much.
Like physically, yeah. Mm.
Yes, and Ascot written through like Black Pearl Rock, really.
Yeah. Yeah, an outstanding each way angle there, really, now for punters. I think I agree with your selection. I think it's hard to sort of knock that. Asadna's probably going to line up for the Coventry, although it's been weak on the machine. I don't know what's going off with that. I totally agree with your assessment on the American horse. Carl Burke's is probably priced a little bit on the short side. So, Icy, coming to the Coventry then, because I heard you say about Jesse's. Probably going off around
9-2, 5-1, roughly. Now, roughly it'll go off because like apparently the second favourite's going to come out of that race.
So is that what you've heard, that Asadna will not run in the Coventry?
Yes. The George Bowie trained horse, isn't it? What's it called again?
Asadna. Yeah.
Look, the rumor is that doesn't run. But look, it's pure speculation. I don't know for certain.
Yeah. What do you make of? Because I honestly think. River Tiber, and I have backed him anti-post at 3s. I genuinely think this horse is going to improve at least £10. At least £10 for 6 furlongs.
Well, look, this is the race of the week, and look, like you, Taylor, asked me, will the eye test versus sectionals be decided on this race? The answer is yes. Yes, it will.
Yes. Yeah.
And look, River Tiber will just win this race, I think. I know. Give us the beat, boys. Like that is fancied out the door, but Mickey Tabor is currently like stashing Sterling into bags to bring with him to Ascot and to go up and down the line and take God knows 10 to 11 or something. So look. Right. So why? So let's say Michael Tabor does back this, right? And does have a lot of money on this horse. Why? Because Aidan will be giving him the confidence to back it. So if Aidan is confident of a 2-year-old winning a Coventry, guess what? It'll win the Coventry.
It'll get started as well with it being World Pull as well, won't it? With all Hong Kong knowing the colours.
It's hard to judge these days, John, because you just don't know, because the models might be against it and it can go off 2.7. You just don't know anymore. It's very hard to call markets precisely anymore because look at the Derby, right? So like there was a rumor went round that Derek Smith went down to he goes down to Coolmore and he says that the horse that won the Derby, Augustine Road, and he says, oh look, it's got no chance. He comes out after speaking to Aidan and he thinks it's the biggest certainty of all time. No, it still went off 6.2 on the machine. Like these boys don't dominate the market like they used to 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when like they'd come onto Ladbrokes, they'd have 50 grand on one. And then everyone knows it gets out into the market, it gets out into the betting market, and everyone wants to be with the horse. Like that horse would have gone off 7-4, he would have gone off 5-2, 9-4 for a Derby 10 years ago. This year he went off 6.2 because the models were so against it. So it's very hard to call the market these days. But at the same time, you like knowing when these guys want to back one, because it's not because look they've got millions of quid and okay, fair enough, it doesn't matter to them what they bet, what they win or lose, but it means Aidan is telling them that this will win, and that's important to know. So look, the sectional guys, they can have it off on their ripping winners that are 3 seconds above standard or whatever. But at the end of the day, if Aidan O'Brien fancies one of the Coventry, guess what? It'll win.
Yes, let's hope so. I think River Tiber is the absolute good thing in the Coventry, and I still think its value at current price is 13.08, roughly 6-4. I genuinely believe it'll go shorter. It's particularly if Ice is in first, correct. Not saying it will be, that Asadnar might not head there. Obviously, it will be shorter, and Jesse's will shorten up. Obviously, with Frankie on, as he rightly says. Icy, your next bet.
Okay, this is a bit of a dark one now, but Chris, do you want to pronounce the name of the horse?
I can't remember which one it is now. Which one you're on about?
The one of the Queen's Vase.
No, you haven't told me that, you double speaker. Putting someone else in, you haven't told me that.
Right, so look, it's one of Aidan O'Brien's. It's Goolagong. Is that the right pronounce? Someone tells me it's something to do with cricket or something. Is it?
Tennis. Yvonne Goolagong, the tennis player. Sure.
So you do know the name of the horse. Well done, Chris.
No, I do now, but you never told me. Hang on, let me just log into Betfair. Keep talking. It's got no money in it anyway. So yeah, carry on. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so look, it's one of Aidan O'Brien's. It won a maiden at Navan. The race has worked out pretty nicely, and it's only got the one entry at the minute. Now again, look, it could end up entering something else later in the week because we still don't have the decks Friday and Saturday. Yeah, this horse is slow, and I like Aidan O'Brien horses that are slow because he knows what to do with them. He just steps them up and puts them in the right races. And this horse with 20s, I think he's still 12-1. I would not lay 12-1 this horse for the Queen's Vase. You need to dig into the maiden like yourself and have a look at it. But if Ryan Moore rides this horse and it's declared for this race, like you're looking at 4-1, 5-1 here, and it's currently 12s. I think this is just another example of it's just rigged, really. This race. That's
an interesting shout. Very unexposed, obviously, and like you say, running 10 on the heavy, and Ryan was on it that day as well at Navan, and beat a horse in Nation's Call that subsequently won its maiden after that. So that's an interesting shout.
Yeah, it was like this was short for a Derby trial as well. I think it was 6-4 for a Derby trial. So I honestly just think the compilers have just missed this completely. So and look, I love Aidan O'Brien horses stepping up in trip. I think it's a big angle because he's just so good with this type of horse.
Interesting that Ryan's also, according to the Racing Post, spoke very well of him in terms of how he rates him. So that would be interesting. Like he says, imagine Ryan
that race as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like Circular Fire and Arrestor in the Teddy 7.
Yeah.
Continuous isn't fast to run for Aidan, especially if Goolagong runs.
You'd be surprised if Arrest ran in that, wouldn't you?
Very surprised, because you'd hope that they've got better plans than going mile and 6 and then waiting for the ledger.
Yeah.
So you can definitely say a case for that going off sub 8-1, can't you?
Oh, like if Ryan Moore is on it, it's I think it's a 4-1 shot. So it's.
I agree. Yeah.
I honestly think this is probably the bet of the week. I think at the minute.
Do you know, I love shouts like this. I'll tell you why, because it's not definite that Ryan's going to ride it. It's not definite, but if he, like you said, the value perceived. So you get 40. It's 14-1, I believe now. 12 and 14-1. Now imagine you take that price. Okay, Ryan doesn't ride it, so it's the second jockey on. It's still not going to be bigger than 12 or 14, is it?
I'll tell you this: Lee, if Ryan Moore didn't ride it, it still wouldn't bother me. I'd still want to be on it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the upside. So it's a bet with serious upside, as in correct. Ryan rides it. This is 9-2, 4-1, second favourite behind the John Gosden trained Gregory. I think that will go favourite. But
if I definitely knew Ryan Moore was riding it, I wouldn't tell you. I'll put it to that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'd hold that back and hammer it, and away you go. But there's a lot of value perceived in that. I like the choice. Yeah, good choice. Icy, have you anything else on the week?
No, I think that's more or less it. The only other thing that I'd be strong on is I think Paddington should be clear fav in the St James's Palace Stakes. It's basically Irish guineas versus English guineas, and I think everyone knows I'm really low on the English guineas. I just think it was a nothing race, and Paddington is just on such an upward curve. He's just going to keep improving. So I'd have him clear favourite in the St James's Palace Stakes, but I mean, I think it's pretty much 2-1, 2-1. So I mean, it's not no, it's not that. It's not something I'd be rushing out to the betting shop to bet today, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just one other thing, because obviously you know the Irish angle, etc. The 5 o'clock race, the Ascot Stakes, it is very short, but 9:04 bring on the night. Is that not something you'd bother at 9:04 with?
I think I'm pretty sure I backed that horse in that race last year. Was it? Did it run that race last year?
Yeah, it was second.
Yeah, I think I was all over it last year at 5-1. So I mean, it's just like I kind of feel them with horses like that. It's like, yeah, well, you know, you went to the wedding, don't go to the funeral kind of thing. Yeah, look, it'll take beating, but I'm not I'm not interested at the price this year, no.
Yeah, Chris, are you still with us, or are you tapping away on betting account?
Well, there's your answer. Yeah.
I can't believe where the prices are at the minute. I think the few prices down. It's fucking disappointing there. You need to tell me when this goes live. Give me a few hours to.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's not till 7:30 this evening, so as usual time.
Out round the shops.
Yeah.
Chris, I'll get you on. Don't worry, I'll get you. You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Queen's Vase is the Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Wednesday.
If there's one thing that Icy's ever done, it's your nickname, Chris, when he called you Dracula. I've put it in my phone, and I just find it hilarious now. Every time you ring me, Dracula comes up.
Yeah, it's just Dracula. Yeah, fucking it sucks the life out of everyone and everything.
What did he say? What once he gets his Icy said something like, yeah. What once he gets?
It's like a spider's web, you know. Once he catches you, that's it. Like you're done. You're just done.
All over like cheeks too. Honestly, it's yeah.
Wait, Chris. I mean, just going back to when I first knew you, it's like, when was it? Probably 2010ish, something like that. Ever since, that's it. You're like a rucksack.
It's got a rash that would never clear up. Whatever you do to it, honestly, it comes back stronger and worse. But.
Yeah, no, brilliant. But honestly, though, I won't change anything. It's funny. it's funny as right. So, anything that anyone wants to add for Ascot this week? Obviously, we're doing the main preview. Well, not the main preview. We're doing Tuesday, Wednesday preview on Monday night. Wednesday night, we do Thursday, Friday preview on Bar Stewards. So, anything, John, you would probably like to add to anything?
No,
and I think that's a suitable way to end it. So we thank a hungover Icy from his US Open action, golf action, which I'm sure he'll be watching tonight, for joining us, because it's always a pleasure. Comes up with some pearlers, and I think these two bets that Icy's come up with are pretty classy selections. Nice prices, will get shorter, I'm sure. So thank you, Icy, for joining us. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, John. That's all from us. Bye for now.